Morning from Xian. Hello, welcome to Xian. As I said, I am here post competition currently. I finished competing yesterday, and to be honest, I didn't have the best event. I dived pretty badly throughout, but I've been diving pretty badly all week long. Unfortunately finished in 14th place overall, but there were 3 Chinese divers, Wang Zhongwan, how do you say his name? Xian, I can't say his name, Xian, and Xisi, and Xisi finished 3rd, which was actually a shock because the younger kid beat him in the prelim. He had an unbelievable prelim, and because there were 3, that means 1 couldn't make it through, and that put me in a net 13th place overall, 1 position out of the final, which means I unfortunately didn't get to compete for any prize money, which is a shame because, as I've said a number of times on here, prize money was definitely a motivating factor to push hard in these World Cups and make it all the way out here. It's very good prize money, and I unfortunately finished in a position where I didn't get an opportunity to fight for it, but that's the way that sport goes sometimes. Maybe actually when I think about it, I slightly overachieved last year in Berlin with my 8th place finish, and the money that I won there is probably more than I maybe should have achieved, so probably balances out over the 2 years actually. So it's not too bad. I'm not too upset. I'm very slightly frustrated, but the way that I was diving all week, I didn't necessarily deserve prize money because I haven't been diving well enough to be in that mix, and that's okay. It was a very valuable experience, had a great time, but this schedule is tough. It's my first experience of doing all this travelling. The schedule for us has been very tough, from Doha to Montreal to Berlin to here, with 2 to 3 weeks in between each. It's been very, very challenging and fatiguing on the body, and a lot of divers have had a lot of experience of that. I personally have not, because I've never been involved in this kind of world tour style competition before. You have the divers that did the World Series before, and they would travel all over the place, and I just haven't had that before, and it's a very new experience. It's very, very difficult, but it's been a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of good vibes and a lot of positivity from this week and from this last few months, hanging out with my friends and doing cool things in the cities. For example, here in Xian, we went to the Terracotta Warriors, which is a huge tourist attraction. Basically, the story behind that is Emperor Qin, who was the person who united China. He wanted to find the elixir to life, the drug or potion or whatever that would make him live eternally. After trying a number of things, he eventually figured out that it wasn't possible, and he started then preparing for the afterlife. So he found where his tomb was going to be located in this hill, buried deep underneath. Just a few kilometers to the east of this hill, he decided to build an army that was supposed to protect him in the afterlife. So he built this army out of terracotta, which is a material kind of almost like clay. And he built this army. There was almost 8,000 soldiers, horses, and chariots. They've been standing there for over 2,000 years. Many of them actually have been crushed because they were built with like a kind of log roof, like a cross beam above them, and over the years this roof has collapsed and it's crushed a lot of warriors. A lot of them are still standing. A lot of them are actually being restored by archaeologists at the moment, so that they can have an entire attraction that is full of these warriors. I mean, it's actually only been discovered like 50 years ago, so it's still quite fresh in terms of discovery. There's a lot of it that's still undiscovered, so the archaeologists are actually still there working and kind of digging up the site and restoring these warriors back to their former glory. But it was an unreal, bizarre experience, and it was a cool thing to do with my Aussie friends. So yeah, it's a shame that my diving performance hasn't quite been up to standard, especially since Montreal. I dived really well out there. I was hoping to be able to carry that through for the next 2 legs, but unfortunately wasn't able to do that. But the experience of actually being here, being amongst it all, watching some amazing diving has been really cool. So I've enjoyed that a lot. But as I've said on here as well, the main goal is to peak for Paris and to be at my best for the Olympics in the summer. And this is just a part of that journey. In diving and in all sport, you go through some highs and some lows, some ups and some downs, and that's okay. The main thing is like what you do to deal with the downs, how you move forward, how do you respond, because you can either let it get to you and then you start doing bad things to feel better about it, which is okay, you know, for a couple of days as long as it's not prolonged. But you have to get back into a rhythm and back into a routine as soon as possible. So when I get back home, that's my goal, is to have like a little bit of time to reset and just relax and breathe and actually let my body recover, because my body actually feels pretty rough right now. My legs have been through a lot. I've done a lot of travelling, spent a lot of time on planes and in airports, a lot of time in different time zones, which is really challenging to, you know, make your body function well. And yeah, this time to reset, it'll be good to just let everything just relax, and then I can actually start pushing again for the summer. Another little challenge out here actually was the fact that they had the old diving fulcrums. So the company called Duraflex, which manufacture all the diving springboards, they created this new short stand that was this whole groundbreaking thing. So it was their first new product in a long time, and for us it was strange because we knew that these fulcrums were going to be in situ in Doha, in Fukuoka last year, and then also in Paris. So at home in Edinburgh, for example, we were keen to get these springboards in or these fulcrums in as soon as possible. And throughout the country, throughout the UK, these new short stands were installed as quickly as possible so that we could train on them as much as possible. And around the world, it's been the same case. There's been many countries and cities that haven't been able to get them because just of the delivery times, and the cost of them as well is very expensive. And funnily enough, this pool is one where they weren't able to get the new short stands, so it was quite an experience having to dive on the old ones again, because they do feel different. They mean that the characteristics of the way that the board works is very different, and for me, I actually prefer the new ones, and I've gotten used to the new ones. And there's still some people that prefer the old ones, even though the new ones are at most competitions. Jack being one of those, for example. So he actually dived really, really well, funnily enough, going back to the old ones, and I struggled a bit more with these old ones because of I felt like I could make them work for me as well as I have done with the new ones. But that's not an excuse, because I've spent obviously a long time diving on these old fulcrums. But you know, it's funny that once you get something new, you adjust to it, and then when you have to go back, even if it's been something that you've used for a long time, then it just throws you off a little bit. But you know, it was still a good week of competition, and I've benefited from the experience, let's put it that way, and I'm ready to go back home and get back to work for the rest of the year. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.